Welcome in. We are live here at BetMGM Sportsbook at the Great Lawn at State Farm Stadium. It's your PHNX Cardinals pregame show. I'm Johnny Venerable, the playmaker, Brittan Gold, my dear, dear friend, Bo Brock, co-host on this fine podcast as the Arizona Cardinals attempt to win their first road playoff game in 11 months, the first under Jonathan Gannon. So much to talk about, Bo, and we got to start with the inactives.
Yeah, we do. It's kind of showing you what could potentially happen. Dennis Daly is active, of course, activated off of the IR yesterday. So he comes back, and Jonathan Gannon said there's going to be a specific role that Dennis Daly plays. He was kind of that sixth offensive lineman, so we might see some different looks. Jesse Luketa, he is not active today, so he's been playing some linebacker. He's been playing some fullback, a fan favorite, but he's not going to play. He's not going to be part of that pass rush. He's not going to be part of that offense. So I got to imagine that Dennis Daly reemerges as kind of an offensive weapon, extra blocker in place of Luketa today. And then nothing really outside of Jalen Thompson. Hadn't practiced all week. The Cardinals down another big safety, Brittan. It's going to be tough to keep up with this pretty potent passing attack without JT and Budda Baker.
No, it is. And it's just certain things that we talk about every week about a next guy stepping up. But it hurts when you've got your top two safeties, top three safeties, and you're just losing them week in and week out.
Yeah, it's frustrating. The Arizona Cardinals entered last week with Jalen Thompson and James Conner. Neither of them are playing today. Conner, of course, went on injured reserve earlier this week. Jalen Thompson, it is week to week with that hamstring injury. And you mentioned it, like other people are going to have to step up. The secondary, we're going to talk about it here in a little bit, is decimated by injuries, and it's been inconsistent, specifically at the cornerback position. I'm looking to a guy, Kayvon Wallace, to have a big game, potentially step up. Had an interception of Joe Burrow last week, and so now can he do it 2 consecutive weeks, take the baton from Jalen and Budda Baker, Bo? But again, the pass rush has to start the issue defensively for the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean, the best way you can elevate a pedestrian, a below-average defensive secondary is having a very stout pass rush. And we've liked what we've seen in spurts and flashes with Zaven Collins and Dennis Gardeck and Victor Dumakaji, but they have to be relentless today. Here's where I really also need to see players on this defense step up on the outside. We got to see Marco Wilson's best performance of the season, and I think that goes without saying. But Keitrell Clark as well, he gets a little bit of a pass for being a 6th-round rookie. There's not much there. Antonio Hamilton, I expect him to step in that slot position, that nickel cornerback role in place of Jalen Thompson, who's been playing there all season. So you're going to have at least 3 cornerbacks out there with more coverage skills than we're used to seeing. And then you got Kayvon Wallace. But really the outside guys, that's going to be key here. And then you start to look at, you mentioned the James Conner thing. It's like, okay, so they elevated Damian Williams. He's got some experience, a veteran back. But I really think that they're going to lean on second-year guy in Keontae Ingram, and then a undrafted rookie free agent, Amari Dermacado. I expect him to be in his normal third-down passing back role and maybe sprinkle in a little bit extra than that.
Dylan Richards in the chat asking, no Garrett Williams today. He is yet to be activated, which means that he is on par to play next week at Seattle. He has had now 3 weeks of practice, and so you assume that he's going to be back activated to 53. They're taking immense caution with the ex-Syracuse standout coming off a torn ACL last October. So everybody else, as Bo mentioned, as you mentioned, Brittan, going to have to step up in the secondary in the meantime.
No, for sure. And like we were talking about earlier, the corners are going to have, like you said, Bo, they have to do something. They have to step up. The last 3 weeks have been really atrocious in that defensive secondary on the outside, and somebody's got to be able to make a play. But as you alluded to earlier, that pass rush has to get to Matt Stafford today. You've got to create some type of havoc in that backfield, make him panic a little bit, do something. Because the corners right now are just not playing their best, and today's got to be their best, like Bo said.
Absolutely. That brings us into the Bird Gang Blitz, our first topic of discussion. It's a scorched secondary. Each of the past few weeks, over 100-plus quarterback rating. Joe Burrow, Brock Purdy. We, of course, talked about Daniel Jones. And, again, there's Marco Wilson getting stiff-armed in our photo. How can Marco Wilson hang with Cooper Kupp? Can he do it? Is he physically capable of doing it, Bo Brock? Or is this a scenario in which the Cardinals are going to have to disrupt Matthew Stafford in order for Marco Wilson to gain back some confidence in the secondary?
Yeah, I think the latter. I think that they're going to have to disrupt Matthew Stafford. They're going to have to get after his ass and make sure he's off his spot. Really, what I want to see from Marco Wilson, just make the plays you can make. If Matthew, and also don't let Matthew Stafford pull out the whole bag of tricks as far as the no look passes. Don't get put on a highlight reel this week.
Right.
I mean, we know that Cooper Kupp's going to eat. We know Puka Nacua is likely going to eat. But if you can get a couple pass deflections, if you can just break up a couple and not let him be target practice out there, that's just going to go a long way for Nick Rallis and this defense getting off the field.
Well, and BG, we talked about it. Last week, you let Joe Burrow and company get right. They've been struggling offensively. Stafford, for the most part, has been pretty fine this year. They've struggled in the second half to put up points. How can the Cardinals defensively hang on for dear life and not surrender another 30-burger to the opposing offense?
I think, like we just talked about, I think that pass rush is going to be huge for the Cardinals today. I think if we can have Matt Stafford under pressure, maybe we can force a few mistakes. But I also like to see his corners come up and play press coverage this week.
Yeah.
I think they gave Joe Burrow too much room last week to get in a rhythm to where it just ended up being just a pass-happy day for him. I think if we can come up, it doesn't have to be every play, but just try to get hands on a receiver at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
Just once or twice. Don't just sit back at 10 yards and just give them 10-yard outs and 10-yard curls all day long, because all that does is just create a rhythm with that quarterback. Now he feels comfortable. Now he's throwing all underneath. They run a double move, and you get beamed over the top.
Yeah, keeping the defense, or the offense, I should say, in front of you, that's a nice theory. But when the Cardinals are down players like Jalen Thompson, Budda Baker, they're not tackling particularly well. Get up in their face and make them uncomfortable at the line of scrimmage. I totally agree with that. Will the Cardinals' run game be uncomfortable today without James Conner? That brings us into the second topic. Conner, contingency question mark? Well, Bo, you talked about it. Damian Williams, he's been activated to the 53-man roster, but it's going to be, I would say, a mixed bag of Keontae Ingram and DeMercado last week, who scored his first NFL touchdown. The fantasy enthusiast want to know, Bo Brock, how is this going to be delved out? Who's going to get the carries, most importantly, in the red zone and throughout the course of the 4 quarters today?
It's like you're asking me to definitively say when Kyler Murray's going to make his debut this year.
Yeah.
Even though we feel like it's trending in the right direction, we can't say without a shadow of a doubt who is going to be. But I am pretty confident that Keontae Ingram's going to get first crack at this thing.
Yeah.
And if Keontae Ingram can get into any kind of rhythm, if he can follow any sort of blocks, if he can use, those fresh legs that they were extra cautious as far as dealing with his neck injury for the last 2 weeks, if he can be fresh enough, if he can really kind of follow the lead of Will Hernandez, Paris Johnson Jr., maybe even Dennis Daly mixed in there as far as extra blockers, he can do what they need to do. Could it be the Big Ten, philosophy, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, putting yourself in second and third and manageable? I think that's all you're asking for, right? Don't have to be out there and play hero ball, but I think that Keontae Ingram gets the opportunity, and then DeMercado's in his regular role. But look, if Ingram comes out and he looks like Ingram against Washington and it's negative chunk plays the other direction, they'll pull his ass and they'll try to just find somebody who can get them in any type of rhythm running the football. And Gannon always, every single coach on this staff says, you got a jersey on game day, they're going to use you. So I don't expect Damian Williams to just stand on the sideline like Corey Clement did last week.
Yeah, BG, you played with a franchise back in David Johnson, and you watched him produce and then subsequently get injured. What's the mindset of this team now, losing in a Pro Bowl running back like James Conner, and how can they find a way? Because no one singular player is going to be able to do it. How are they going to find a way to duplicate his production in some way, shape, or form?
No, it just comes on the back of these backup running backs. Somebody's got to come in and step up and make a play. I mean, I remember in 2015 we had Chris Johnson. Chris Johnson was before the David Johnson Jonah, but Chris Johnson came in on the back end of his career and had a phenomenal. I think he led the NFL through the first 9 weeks. He was crushing it, going crazy, and then he gets hurt, breaks his leg, and David Johnson comes in. And yes, he was drafted. I think we drafted David third round, second or third round, and we were high on him. He was a great football player, but when he stepped into that season, I think he had 500 yards rushing like the last 3 games of the season. He went absolutely crazy. So you're looking for one of these, whether it be Ingram, DeMercado, even Damian Williams that comes in. You're looking for somebody that can step in and try not to miss that same beat with James Conner in that game.
Now, to the opposite end of that, it's like Johnson stepped up. He took advantage of that opportunity. But then, like the next year, right, when David Johnson, or after the year of his 20 touchdown performance, 2017, gets the wrist injury, nobody really stepped up. Am I right? So, like, hopefully the Cardinals situation right now is going to be a young back like DJ did way back when, taking advantage of that opportunity, and less of what we saw in 2017 where you just had to lean on the passing game because you didn't have anything.
We didn't really go out outside of that. We used the running backs we had in house.
Didn't they bring in Adrian Peterson?
We did have Adrian Peterson.
He had that one good game against Tampa.
His first game here, I think he had like 35 carries for 150 and 2 touchdowns.
That's typical BA. I think time's running out for Keontae Ingram. You're a 6th-round pick of the prior regime. You've been hurt. You've been basically ineffective, with all due respect. Like, you're getting a golden opportunity. No James Conner, at least for the next 4 weeks. Young man, this is your chance to go out and take a stranglehold and be a part of this backfield from 2023 and beyond. If you don't do it now, I don't know when that opportunity for Keontae Ingram is going to come around again. Is Joshua Dobbs running out of opportunities here as Kyler Murray is poised to return, hopefully sooner rather than later? It's our last segment on Bird Game Blitz, doubting Joshua Dobbs. Listen, this time last week, this guy's got a 100-plus quarterback rating through the first half, then subsequently turnovers, 2 picks, and a fumble in the second half. It's frustrating because I know Dobbs capable of playing better, Bo Brock, than he did against Cincinnati. This week, even on the road, softer landing spot. LA Rams defense, 31st, 32nd against the pass. I think Dobbs has his best game today as a member of the Arizona Cardinals.
He has to, right? And this is a 31st ranked secondary, Brittan. I mean, what is it? Like, how do you avoid those, I guess, getting in the negative trend of turnovers, right? We saw, like, he didn't throw a pick until that pick 6, and then after that, it's like the floodgates open, right? But, I mean, the second pick was on 4th down. Yep. It was essentially a punt, but then the fumble was on 1st down. That's inexcusable. Like, how do you get out of that negative rhythm?
Well, in a game when you get caught up in stuff like that, when you've got multiple turnovers, I think it's you trying to rely on a run game outside of that. You got to find a way to move the ball, try to get positive yards on 1st and 2nd down without trying to force the ball downfield. I did feel like Dobbs got a little carried away last week trying to throw some passes that just weren't there, trying to fit it into a hole that probably shouldn't have been thrown. Also, we had some bad route running in there as well. But I like what you said this week. He is facing the 31st defense out there, passing defense. But you do have to watch out for Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Donald can change the game without having a secondary. You can have no corners out there. That man can get back there fast enough. So I do feel like the offensive line is going to have to step up. But I do feel like Dobbs could have a really good day today as long as he sticks to the script and finds the open pass.
Yeah, let's get back to basics here with Hollywood Brown and Michael Wilson, maybe some Rondell Moore underneath, and let those guys work with Yak in the open field. I feel like Joshua Dobbs, not reading his press clippings, but to your point, PG, they got a way of what they did, and that's just take the throws that are available. I saw Dobbs passing on 1st down conversions last week in an effort to go for the big play, and it led to turnovers. It led to inefficient drives. It led to 3 and outs, and that's not what the Cardinals offense can be built to sustain, especially with this defense now teetering on the brink of a total collapse. Like, if I'm Drew Petzing, if I'm Jonathan Gannon, this week needs to be about sustainable drives, sustainability. That defense can't be out there 60, 70% of the time today. So I think Dobbs is more efficient, and if he can limit the turnovers, Cardinals have a hell of a shot in this one.
Yeah, you ever have those moments where you just regret like what you said, or you miss something completely obvious?
Never.
We did our key matchups, and I had that moment just driving in my car over here. I was like, why wasn't the key matchup this Cardinals interior offensive line against Aaron Donald?
Yeah.
But sometimes he's so effing good. It's like when your favorite basketball team's going up against LeBron James. It's like, hey, you got to slow down LeBron James,
it's
right?
Like, no duh.
Right.
It's where it goes.
Yeah.
But, I like how this Cardinals offensive line is equipped to go up against 99. I think he always eats, right? He always makes a game-changing play, but can you limit that? And I think that from Yelda Froholt to Will Hernandez to whoever, maybe it's a rotation at left guard, I think that they're in a good spot to kind of slow him down like they did. Like, if you were to point to last season, like one of the very successful moments from Cliff Kingsbury and his staff.
How dare you?
Was how they slowed down Aaron Donald, with Colt McCoy at quarterback way back when. It turned into a win. That's big. That's huge. It's understated, but it's key.
Well, and you would imagine, too, with no James Conner, maybe a lot of the run game goes on the perimeter, on the outside, instead of right up the middle. Certainly you don't want to expose guys like DeMercado, Dobbs, or Rondell Moore underneath to number 99. Milwaukee Braves, $4.99 Super Chat. Thank you so much, Mr. Braves, friend of the program. Positive vibes only. Let's go, Cards. The vibes are immaculate here at BetMGM Sportsbook at the Great Lawn here at State Farm Stadium. Tons of fans rocking and rolling, excited for the matchup today. I feel an upset in my gut right
Ooh.
now. Am I willing?
Is that the fire in the gut?
I don't know. Could be. Am I willing to
Did you take the bus?
Drink coffee this morning?
These two jackholes, man. Am I willing to put money on the Cardinals money line? It's plus 250 right now with our friends at BetMGM. Other folks, much braver than me are, but here's what I like. Here's Johnny's Tap That App picks via BetMGM. Listen, I'm over 60% on football Sundays here on the pregame show. You may want to take note. Get your pen or your pencil out. We got 20 minutes till kickoff. Right now, book it. Hollywood Brown, anytime touchdown, plus 130. It hit last week. The Ertz anytime touchdown hit last week. So, again, take my recommendation there. You want some plus money? That could hit on the first effing drive today. I'm so fired up about that pick. How about the over in points? Right now, the Cardinals, I think defensively, they're struggling. 25 to 30 points per game the last 2 games. I'm going to say the Cardinals at least get to 24 themselves. We'll see what's going to happen see what happens with
the sportsbook's fired up about what's going on in the Niners game.
A lot of good stuff behind us. We're going to see what happens defensively with this team against the LA Rams, but I like the over. I like the over early, like probably late in the third quarter. I also like Joshua Dobbs. I just alluded to it. 1.5 plus passing touchdowns, plus 150. The best odds today I can find on any prop bet. Dobbs will throw 2 touchdowns today. Book it. They're going to struggle to run the football to some degree with James Conner. You don't have him in between the tackles. He's not going to be able to steal red zone carries. Joshua Dobbs is going to find multiple targets in the end zone. Ertz, Hollywood Brown, Michael Wilson's going to be back involved after missing last week because of the ineptitude of the offense. So I'm excited about what Dobbs can do through the air. Make yourself some money with BetMGM.
The Dobb father. Yeah, the BetMGM, the positive vibes, they're immaculate, as you mentioned, and you can go make some money here. I like them. I mean, like you said, you're playing the hot hand. We talked to Baldy, and he said you got to play the hot hand. The hot hand is Johnny in his prop bets.
Appreciate you.
Before each and every week, usually about two out of 3. So let's get after it.
Last week it was 3 out of 4, but who's counting?
Yeah,
we're excited.
You're a madman. You're an absolute.
That's right.
You're a madman.
Do you feel like Hollywood Brown is working his way into an extension with this team, given his play? I don't want to go off track too much, but
it's just that's tough to tell.
A little early.
It is.
That one.
I mean, we got to see how the market just kind of develops this offseason for Hollywood Brown. I don't think he's going to do himself a disservice and go to the negotiating table too early unless they're adamant and they want to pay him, top dollars. But I think there's a bit of a market correction with the wide receivers, and he's just it's like it's not Devontae Adams, and you're like just throw him a blank check. You got to figure out, what it's going to look like.
Trending,
yeah,
it's trending upwards.
Would you make the deal
trending.
if he kept doing this?
If he goes up continuously throughout the season, why not? I mean, it gives you a lock at a solid number 1-ish type guy, and it's not going to be where you're paying this guy $35 million a year. Let's just be real.
Yeah.
Plus, I think
would
the
you
market
pay him
is set.
Christian Kirk money about $15, $17 million?
I would pay if he continuously goes up this year. I would pay Hollywood Christian Kirk money.
I think I would too, because again, I get enamored. The kid from FSU, Coleman, was fantastic yesterday. Keon, yeah, he was fantastic.
God, he's unbelievable.
Marvin Harrison Jr. is fantastic. But again, there's a difference between playing Panera Bread on Saturday and playing NFL teams on Sunday, right?
Agreed.
And so,
our buddy Caleb Wood.
I know, right? It's just like we can all tout these prospects. I'm fired up about him, even though Houston continually plummets our first-round pick. Yeah. We're not going to talk about that till the post-game show. But it's like, the grass isn't always greener, Bo Brock, as we look at the green grass here at the Great Lawn. Mm-hmm. I do feel like Hollywood Brown, it's kind of staring you right in the face. You're going to have disposable income this offseason. You're going to have $80+ million, right? You're going to shed some cap. Kyler Murray most likely will be back, barring something unforeseen. It's like
most likely he's going to be back.
Can you not envision a scenario? It's just like give him a 3-year deal.
Here's the thing, though. Okay, I've seen so many things, so many positive things from Hollywood Brown this season. One, playing hurt with a hamstring issue, right? Playing with the thumb issue.
Yeah.
He was sick this week. He got back to practice. He's playing today. We've seen on the field so many positives. He's been a threat in the red zone. He's been a massive threat on third down. He's been a big playmaker for Joshua Dobbs when it means the most, right? So we're seeing all that. Next step as far as that goes, when Kyler Murray returns, he's got to be a monster.
Yeah,
he's just got to be an absolute.
I think he will.
Yeah. So I think he's, as we said, he's trending in the right direction. And once he shows that he's an absolute just game-breaking monster, then we could start to look at, hey, let's extend him. Let's put him on, put his name on a dotted line. But so far, so good from Hollywood Brown.
I feel like BG, his game complements Michael Wilson's game well. Like, they're different in a lot of ways, but they both eat in the middle of the field. And then that wouldn't preclude the Cardinals from drafting yet another receiver next offseason. But I think it allows them to be flexible. You get him under contract, maybe a team-friendly deal, a Hollywood-friendly deal. You don't have to go and, say, force a first-round pick on a receiver that's not named Marvin Harrison Jr.
No, agreed. And as long as you can – if you can lock Hollywood in, especially having a presence of his caliber locked in within a 2 or 3 year deal, you know he's here, then it allows you to go out and kind of look in the draft.
Yeah.
Right? Like you said, I don't have to go searching in the first round trying to catch me a Coleman or a Marvin Harrison Jr. I can kind of wait to second, third, fourth round and find me a very solid receiver that can come in and be that guy.
Tez Walker with Drake May. Was it 3 touchdowns?
Bo's boy, Drake May. Bo would
I like Drake May, too.
These guys would love Drake May and Brock Bowers on the first flight to Phoenix. I'm not feeling that. I am feeling the big plate of wings waiting for me. But before we get to that, folks, I got to eat some predictions. It's prediction time here on the BetMGM pregame show here at PHNX Cardinals. I want everybody to drop a like on this video. Most importantly, give us your final game predictions in the chat. Now, BG, Friday show, Bo and I both had pretty lopsided losses today for the Arizona Cardinals. But over the last couple days, I'm like, man, it just feels like Gannon and company, they're going to have a game plan to slow down Stafford, and I think Dobbs bounces back. Before I give you my refined, revamped prediction, what do you like today? Give me your final score.
Final score-wise, I have the Rams winning, but I think it's close. I think it's 24-17-ish type thing where it could go the opposite direction, but if I was a betting man, I would take – because I think the Rams are, -7 right now to win?
They were -7 yesterday. Yep.
I like it. I like 24-17 Rams. I hope it's wrong. I hope they come back and win it, but
shootout, right? We're feeling a shootout in this game.
You think so?
We do have a super chat real quick before we get full into the I think Alex,
do we get to it?
Do you think we'd be better off with if we had Nino Benjamin? He's lost for the season with an Achilles injury.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And just wasn't emerging really as the back that, Cliff Kingsbury at one point was maybe lost in hyperbole saying he was RB1 type player. No, I mean, let's see what a second-year player who was a top recruit coming out of Texas high school in Ingram can do, what Dar Mercado can do. But thank you for the super chat, Alex. I feel in a shootout, and I think I had it like 31-24 or something like that. But if the Arizona Cardinals can change the tide, if Nick Rollis and this defense can force turnovers and get off the field just a couple times, that's all they need. That's all they've proven. They just need 1 or 2 stops somehow, some way each half. And the Cardinals offensively, I think, can put up points against this poor secondary.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, not Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama. I'm drinking the Jonathan Gannon gets his first road dub Kool-Aid. I'm switching my pick from Friday. I don't know. Something tells me the Cardinals are going to get a dub today. 27-24. They're going to upset the LA Rams. We got upset specials all over the NFL today. We've got Cleveland knocking on the door. Carolina played with Miami for 2 quarters. I love this.
Browns are going to win.
Browns are going to win. Fishbowl Flash, 28-31. Cards win it. Richard, 20-17. The Cards are going to win. Dylan Richards, 34-20. The Cardinals are going to lose 20-34, I should say. So, again, I think most people expect this to be a one-possession game. Hell, Vegas thinks it's going to be a one-possession game. I think Joshua Dobbs, last week, for whatever reason, gentlemen, that first possession against Cincinnati, he did not look good. High balls, right? Errant throws, inaccurate. If Joshua Dobbs comes out, whether it's the first possession, the second possession of the game, and can complete some easy throws and get his confidence back, Cardinals are going to win this game. Book it. They're going to win it 27-24, plus 250 at BetMGM right now. Speaking of BetMGM, we're going to be here all day long. We've got a halftime show immediately following the first 2 quarters of play. And Bo Brock, of course, our PHNX Cardinals postgame show.
That's right. We got Charles, of course, out here. We just met Peyton, who made the trip from Washington. Happy 21st birthday to him. It's nice hanging out. He's going to be hanging out with us all game long, enjoying this great food, the great beverages. I already see a beer that we owe to a PHNX listener. He's got his PHNX locker gear on, so beer incoming to him, and beer could be incoming to you if you make your way out here. We got lots of great things coming your way. And let me just say this about Joshua Dobbs' accuracy. Keep in mind, he looked like he was a Steph Curry, Nike commercial, just hitting the goalpost, dropping balls in actual trash cans on the Cardinals' social media. Maybe if he doesn't come out and he's not like or too overamped,
right?
He showed that he can accurately deliver the football, and he's got to be that more so than what we saw in the first half last week.
BG, give me your final stat line for QB1 today.
I like him completing at least 60%.
Okay.
I like about 210.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with your bet with 2 touchdown passes.
I like it. Maybe a third in rushing. I think today Dobbs could find his way into the end zone. No James Conner to vulture those goal line TDs. Could we see a tush push? Could we see potentially a QB draw inside the red zone? Hopefully we will see a Arizona Cardinal dub today, and the halftime show and the postgame show, all live here with our friends at BetMGM Sportsbook at the Great Lawn. For BG Bullbrock, I'm Johnny Venerable. Like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. We'll see you at halftime.
We all silly like the mayor.